Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have my friend Matthias Bellmann with us. Not his first time on the pod. He's CEO and founder at Passion.io. Great guy. He's in Edtech, serial entrepreneur. I love the guy's mindset. He's pretty balanced, like myself. It's not all about business, has a family, and runs a business with various employees. Always have a bunch of tips for us. So this one's going to be a treat. So stay tuned for that. This podcast is brought to you by podpire.com. That is my company. If you want to monetize your podcast, if you want to launch your podcast, if you want to find sponsors and just get paid quick with a podcast, you can go to podpire.com. Matt, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself for the audience and what are you up to nowadays?
Thank you, Charles, for the warm intro, and very excited to be here. So I am 40, husband, father of two, living in south of Germany with a 8-figure business that is predominantly operating in the US, Canada, Australia, and Great Britain, which would be more than 90% of revenue. And we empower creators, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, coaches, trainers. There's lots of names that our customers are using to trade or to transition from selling time for money to selling product for money by building their own labeled, branded app, which goes into the stores, Apple, Google, and they don't need any designer or developer in order to launch that. They can do it all by themselves, starting from $90-ish a month.
Right. And you've been running that business for the past decade. So tell us what what it needs, what it takes to build an 8-figure empire like you did.
Yeah. Fuck, it's not easy. You know, the size of the business equals my own mindset, I would say. It's a function correlation of my own mindset. So I think building an 8-figure business and likely 9-figure, 10-figure then as well requires significant personal development. So I would say becoming an entrepreneur is the hardest school out there in order to become a better version of yourself, or the best possible version out there. Like, it's fucking tough. It's like, I mean, Elon Musk had like eating glass and staring down the abyss, right? So it's painful, it's hard, but it's a roller coaster. I love it. I couldn't think of doing anything else.
Are there side effects of constantly being stressed and pushing your own mind and body to its limits? How do you deal with that?
I think like the toughest for me so far was similar to what you're doing right now with your sickness and still like doing an ultraton, is with the little ones, right? Like the 1 and the 3-year-old, they constantly get sick because in winter where I live, you have from October to Easter, you're essentially sick. And the little ones, they deal with these diseases much quicker than the parents do. And then like still keeping up the habits, the routines, the mornings, like working out at sometimes 1 a.m., 2 a.m. or 5 a.m., depending on like whenever it's possible, because sometimes I have to adapt based on sicknesses and schedules. And I don't know, having fever and cough and all of that, but still like sticking to the regime is sometimes, I would say, like most doctors would say, don't fucking do that. Like, it's fucking stupid. But I need to stick with it.
Right. Yeah, I haven't dealt with sickness that much as of late, and that, well, I've always been a biohacker, as you know. I had to remind myself of good old biohacks. So got like the vitamin C stuff on my side. I've got the nasal spray stuff. I've got sun exposure. Wim Hof is probably one of my favorite one when I get sick, and especially when you cough. What are some of your biohacks to stay healthy and prevent sickness from happening or having it move out of your body?
Right. I would say the biggest ones. So I never really started drinking coffee. So that's like not something I can like be proud of. I've stopped doing it because I've never done it. But then I stopped eating sugar. I stopped alcohol, and I try to like minimize processed foods, which is also like, let's say, not like a lot of people are doing that, but I just feel that it gives me much more energy to operate and to also follow my routines.
And then when we talk about hardship, I was also referring to stress and stress level. You don't look stressed on the surface, but are you a stressed person, or how do you manage your stress?
I think that's a good one. One of the things that I'm working on, you talked earlier about Tony Robbins. I also was at UPW and Date of Destiny, and I've had many coaches, and what I learned is I'm way too much in my head, stressing out about things, and I want to get out of the head into my body and be much more in the here and now. So yeah, working on that reminded me of that, doing more body work, which can be, of course, gym, could be running, can be meditation, can even be acting. Actually, I've done like some acting classes as well. Anything that gets me into the body. I was at like an event 3 weeks ago where we did like some Kundalini awakening sessions. That was crazy. Some heavy cramping on the floor, like crying, like no tomorrow. Being connected to the metrics, to the energy, seeing like just bliss everywhere. That is awesome. But it requires the work again to like be in the body and not in the head. And the more I'm in the body, the more I'm in the here and the now. And the more I'm here in the here and now, the less I'm stressed out. And the more I'm like bliss, everything is awesome. This moment is great. Let's fucking crush it.
And how do you know in your business is if something is a good stress to have, or if it is a stressor that needs to be fixed and stopped?
Fuck, that's a good one. I think my answer 2 months ago would have been that whenever I see myself like being too rushed and like trying to, if I'm like running to the toilet, for example, or I realize that like my drink is empty and not refilling it and so on, and like, okay, I'm like too much in I wouldn't even call it flow, too much like in a rushed mode. I would say, since this like Kundalini spiritual thing, I'm much more I don't even know if stress, if I'm connected to the energy, to the source, if there is any stress, because it's then much more about like just trusting in what happens, in surrendering and being amazed by what exciting thing is about to happen next. And you just bump into someone then at the airport maybe, and all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, like this changes everything. And I didn't stress out about anything. It just happened by itself. So I would say the new Matt now tries to have less control and to surrender more into that state and just like see where it leads to. So one thing that came to me is I should go more into the American time zones. I'm planning a trip to Costa Rica for a couple of weeks in January, then spending a couple of winter months in the US. And just like see what happens, be closer to customers before coming back maybe to Europe, but just like being guided than being stressed about it. That makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. Patience as well. It was one lesson that I learned from my 10-day trip, and go with the flow, like Wim Hof would say, or flow like water, like Bruce Lee would say. That's always a good one. It's funny, your Kundalini is probably like my mushrooms. When I do these, it always completely dissipates the stress level. Of course, these will come back, so it's constant therapy, maybe once a quarter or so. I was more referring to in your business, for example, like what if you go in a stressful period in the business and that your whole team as well, and you're unsure about that employee, and you're like, okay, I'll wait maybe a month or two because I know it's stressful. VS, okay, I'm gonna fire them right now. Like, how do you distinguish between like a stress that is toxic vs a stress that is because of the situation as a leader that is super busy and surrounded by noise, quote unquote.
I would go back to the thing. I think it still holds true also in business to just trust, just a little bit like less control and just trust it more. To give an example, I think, and maybe this is true for others as well, but the best thing I can do is making good decisions and focusing on focus and good decisions, right? Then quite often I'm like hustling on things that I maybe should not even be doing because I'm procrastinating on an important decision, subconsciously maybe even, right? So there's this thing with the employee, let's say it's not working, I should maybe have this conversation and so on. But maybe I set up the whole department in a weird way, which doesn't make any sense anymore. But I'm not seeing it because I'm just stressed out about this thing. And then I bump into someone. There's like, hey, actually, we, like in this case, I didn't go to, like here's a good example. I didn't go to a conference because my gut feeling was I shouldn't go there. It was a SaaS conference, but I sent my operations head. So my operations head went to the conference. And when she came back, she's like, hey, we actually should level up our CS with AI. And we should do it very differently. And then all of a sudden, it answered a lot of questions. And we could make decisions on the team setup. We could make decisions on how to now go about it the next step. So I would still say it holds true that when stress comes, not like, I have to get out of the head. I have to get out of the head into the body, be in the here and now, and give it like space. Give it space. And all of a sudden, the fucking answer's there. And then I have clarity, and then I can make the decision. And then it's usually the right decision. And my intuition will tell me it's the right decision. And I think that's more powerful than coming up with a pro-con list and going into like, here's the task, here's the to-do, let's crush it by tonight. But that's not how I've done it before, but it's how I'm currently doing it, and so far I'm seeing good indication that this could bring us to the next level.
So more space in your schedule. Me, I used to put like thinking time, but yeah, it seems to me like when I drink caffeine and I get into that state, it's pretty hard to get out of it. And recently, for example, I've been doing the thinking in the sauna. In the sauna, I don't have devices. I'm by myself, so I just think and answers come in there.
Yeah, that's great.
Shower, for example.
That's great. That sauna's great. That will get you into the body. You will sweat. You don't see 55 other things which can or will take your attention. And something might just come and pop up. There's a book called, it's a little bit like freaky titles, called the New Cybernetics, I think, from Malcolm. New Cybernetics. Like maybe, I don't know if you've read it.
Yes.
But it's essentially saying I can in the cautious, I can create lists and all of these things. But in the subcautious, it's almost like Google. You send something in there, you type it in, it doesn't come straight back, doesn't take like a split second, but at some point it will come back. Just trust the subconscious to come up with the answer. And I think the more time you spend in places like the sauna, ask big questions, put it in, and really like let it sink, the likelier you will get up, you will get to write good responses.
Right. The business, it's at somewhat mature stage, I would guess. Are you still as excited with Passion.io? What's the vision for the next couple of years?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because, it's not my first company, and at some point with previous companies, I at some point didn't know what to do anymore. I felt like I've tried it all, it's all like done, and it's, I don't know, not working because of this and that reason, or it's not exciting. I don't know what it is about this business, but I always have the feeling I have work for the next 8 years. And let's say, of course, with the shareholders and everything, things, let's say, get more difficult because there are more stakeholders that need to be managed, right? And then there's a family, and there's 2 little ones, and all of these things, and that all has to make sense. But knowing what is required or how we can get it to the next level, I feel like I have I can work for years on this, and every time I work on it, I have like more ideas. So the energy is high, the ideas are there. specifically, I think what we need to do with passion is we have to focus way more on the users. So what do I mean by that? We are used by creators, right? And creators are the authors of the programs, of the apps, selling courses, community, or whatever. But they have users. We call them end users, right? Like their users. And I think we so far have focused a lot on the creators and making them happy. And we have to now focus way more on the users, because if these users, if they engage more, if they stay, if they're more excited about the solution and about other solutions, the creator will be happy. And with happy creators, we will have more retention. With more retention, we have more revenue, which we can reinvest in better software, better product, and that attracts, again, better users. So I think there's a flywheel, and we haven't focused enough on users. And I think there's like a whole way of things that we can do to have more impact on users. Easily 4 years of work.
Yeah, lots of work. Do you feel AI will take or create more for creators in the next 10 years?
Yeah, then the answer has to be yes. Let me think how. I mean, there's different things that can happen. One is you create a digital version of yourself, which you give more and more context as a creator, right? Like as a creator, I build a virtual version of myself, so that when I'm selling or when I have programs, that the people can maybe interact with that person. AI can help to create apps, content, courses, everything better as well. Then the question comes, yeah, but why do you actually need still apps? Because maybe just like it's fine to talk to some AI and the AI gives you an immediate answer. Why do I even need to have any course or any creator or anything? Because just like AI will take it all. I mean, ultimately, yeah, could happen.
But what if AIs are like better creators than humans? It's progressing at such a pace that I'm seeing that some AIs could definitely become Mr. Beasts in the next 2 years. What would this mean for human creators? There would be a human behind it, right? But maybe that human would manage like 5, 10 Mr. Beasts. And
with HMV3, right? Like HMV3 just create an avatar. This is awesome. You auto-generate the content, you put it in, the creator is essentially auto-posting good stuff, while the actual person behind it it's not even a faceless account, then it's a face account based on a character that you created that just like does the thing. Yeah, I think that will definitely happen. Why not? That makes total sense. It's a good question. In the end, you have users that are still then engaging on that content. We're in an attention economy. It will even then create even more attention generated by AI content. Everyone will even scream louder. I don't know what. Like, what's the next thing that comes after attention economy? Actually, what is when a gazillion, another 8 billion AI people scream left and right about, I don't know, like, this is cool, this is amazing, and there's like an unlimited amount of content, which is already is today, but even more. What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think will happen?
The truth economy.
The what?
The truth economy, which is
truth economy.
Yeah, which is my hopes, my biased hope. I hope that like AIs, and even right now, that AIs are one of the best sources of information in the world. Certainly not X, to fetch good and factual information that can help you make good decisions. And these AIs would compete with who has the most truthful and scientific information. And yeah, humans would stop fucking selling bullshit all the time. And probably UBI would kick in these 5 to 7 years from now. That is my hopes, at least. It's certainly naive, and that's a rabbit hole / Pandora's box. But yeah, I feel the attention economy is pretty bad. I think most creators have integrity. I think they're selling stuff that can help, right? But a lot of people, I mean, it's just like it's not good stuff, right? I wish there would be an AI that would just recommend that person the right course or the right information. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. It's so interesting because I think where you're right is that definitely the education landscape will completely change. So instead of having all these universities and all these people, essentially we have millions of creators that all have their own niche. That is like a decentralization of knowledge happens in a global economy that is implying that you have to become quite nerdy. So actually being quite nerdy is good because that is honing in on your niche. So and then they all have these offers, right? And they all have engagement and they have people there and you see the users, and I think it's more transparent what they're selling, but still they're on their own journey. Everyone is on their own journey to become more impactful on users and so on and so forth. So they try their best. There's also like some people there that want to scam others, but I think you always have that. And then you have users that are on the one hand naive, some are smart. Naive ones maybe buy the stupid stuff, the smart ones not. And there's a constant level up in a decentralized world of education. And I think just like the traditional education will disappear. And then, where I agree with is that if you think software, in the software space, you have companies like Capterra or G2, which kind of like give trust and reviews about software about software pieces out there, if they're good or bad, and so on. And I think something like that might exist for the creator economy as well, where you have a validation, a legitimization of the people out there, which then maybe also drives traffic to them, and they want to be, of course, be listed there. So I think that's something that might come. I don't know. I think it's quite exciting, and yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with that. The micro niche, I can definitely see that. I'd love to see AIs that would scrape the courses, analyze the content, and give it a potential score via the person's profile. That'd be cool. Maybe that could be a feature to add. But I know you're short on time. Where can people find out more about you, Matt?
Sure. So Instagram @passion.matt, YouTube, it's $1 Million Creators. So I'm interviewing there people that are making $1 million or more on social media with courses, community, and so on. And on LinkedIn, just Matt Bellmann as well. And if you want to